Third down and 20.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the 3rd and 20 Dynasty Podcast. The full crew today. I'm back in my normal location. We all just had our fantasy draft last weekend, so we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about that. 4th round mock, some news and notes, and we're breaking down the AFC West. Hey, everyone.
What's up, JT? How we doing?
Well, I'm a little upset because I'm going to just break right into it. Cam Akers, torn Achilles. Terrible news.
This is the biggest dynasty news we've gotten since what? It's been a while since we had something.
Season.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing in the
Seems like the draft.
probably.
Yeah. Well, it's been like 3 or 4 straight weeks of me going like, oh, no real news and notes for you guys. The Julio trade happened.
Yeah, and Keel Harry requesting a trade.
Yeah.
This is bigger than both. Though.
Way devastating. I mean, I'm sure people listening to this probably listen to other Dynasty podcasts, and they're all going to break it down the same way too. I think the main things that we got to talk about, and we could just kind of like roll through them, is one, will Cam Akers ever come back and be like a usable running back? 2, what's the price you're giving up for him? What's the price you'd sell him for? And 3, is Darrell Henderson that guy, or is there someone else out there?
You're not that guy.
All right,
he's that guy.
So, one real quick. Yes or no? Does Cam Akers come back, and is he RB2?
No.
Yes.
He'll be an RB2. He'll never regain this top 10 dynasty back value that he was at pre-injury here. But he'll be back. Will he be back in the same sense? No. I think the best thing I've seen about it is, I don't know who said it on Twitter. I wish I could give him credit, but he will be back. The problem is that he's now missed his window of being a bell cow running back. So he's going to come back. He might be an RB2. He might be worse than that. But he missed this prime 2 seasons, let's call it, of being this bell cow back that everyone expected, and that's why he was ranked so highly.
Our RB2 is, if you're just a starting running back, I feel like you could sneak in RB2 numbers. The issue is he doesn't really catch passes, or at least he didn't last year on the Rams. Now, that could be different with Matthew Stafford and his situation next year. Who knows? But I struggle to say he is going to come back and be an RB2.
Why? I don't understand. Why is everyone so concerned about this injury compared to everyone else?
JT brought it up a little bit before we started recording. It'd be like a unicorn situation. We've never seen a running back have the injury and came back. And
but you're only looking at such a small subset. There's 9 running backs that have had.
I think there's a comparable one from a few years ago. Mikel LaShore was coming off his rookie season, 2nd round pick, had a promising rookie year. I remember people hyping up a little bit. Torn Achilles, he never came back the same. He was out of the NFL. I don't think Akers will be like that bad where he's out of the NFL, but a top 20 running back again, I don't see.
Yeah, but we've seen wide receivers come back from it. So I don't understand the disconnect between, if we only look at running backs, then he's doomed. But if we actually expand our scope a little bit outside of that and look at more players in the NFL, yes, it's grim to a certain extent, but he's not absolutely doomed. I think that there's a wild overreaction to this injury. I think that, yes, maybe he'll lose a step. Maybe he won't ever be the same. But am I willing to sell at an over RB20 price? I saw him get traded straight up for Elijah Moore. It was a 2nd round pick. That's ridiculous. Give me Cam Akers. Dude, there are a lot of players that have recovered from Achilles injuries and been just fine. Didn't Emmanuel Sanders just recover from an Achilles injury? And he was pretty damn good last time I checked.
Different position.
Steve
different
Smith,
player.
Different position bullshit. They're NFL players.
Frank,
you're telling me the receivers don't cut?
Pause. Now, where do you think Cam Akers would have finished had he not torn his Achilles this year? What RB overall?
Probably inside the top 15, guaranteed.
Inside top 15.
Okay, sure. Let's say he finished
I
RB12.
think probably 10 to 14 range,
12, right? Now you have to bet on him coming back from an Achilles injury. I don't really see any players other than potentially Derrick Henry getting phased out, maybe Zeke. Like, there aren't many players above him that are going to be getting phased out in this next coming year. And then you also have new running backs coming in, and he's still in the same situation where he will presumably still have to split time, at least some time, with Darrell Henderson. And maybe they pick up another running back too. It's just like he has a lot going against him where, as I mentioned earlier, he also doesn't catch passes. So he could be losing, to Nyheim Hines or J.D. McKissick or whoever the next, random second running back pass catcher guy is. Jake's Kareem Hunt could be on another team, like, passing him. There's a lot
going.
Don't you
dare talk bad about my man.
No, I was saying he'd be on. Yeah, I was on your side right there. So my thing is, there's a lot that would have to go in Cam Akers' favor at this point to be an RB2 again. Now, I don't think it's impossible, and I think an Elijah Moore price is a fair price.
That's not bad.
I was looking on Keep Trade Cut. I tweeted out earlier at Dynasty JT that he was valued around Michael Pittman. That's someone I'd give straight up. Yeah, Michael Pittman, someone I would totally trade 1-for-1 Cam Akers.
Listen, if y'all want to sell me your Cam Akers shares, I've been screwed by injuries before, but I don't care.
Actually, a pretty comparable one. Another Rams running back with knee issues.
I don't care. I don't believe. I think that he's going to be pretty damn fine.
All right. I mean, we kind of got into it right now. What's the price, Lounis?
So I was telling you, if I owned Cam Akers, I would accept any first-round pick over the next 2 years that's offered for me. And as someone who doesn't own him, if Andrew offered me, sorry, I referenced my first name. So someone in our league does have Cam Akers. I have my next 2 firsts over the next 2 years. If he said Cam Akers for either your 22 first or my 23 first, which will probably be towards the later end of the first round, I'm saying no. I don't want to spend a first round pick on such a big risk and liability. If he wants to sell for an early second, that's a different story, or a mid second, sure. And that's where the Elijah Moore comparison brings in, where I say it's not terrible. It's not a bad return. Just with the running backs, tearing Achilles, I know Jake Frank, you may have some faith in him. I want no parts of that. Especially coming back, it's not going to be just wide open. I would be surprised if they brought someone in. It's Frank making a trade offer right now, a 23 first for Cam Akers.
There you go.
You go ahead and try. I don't know what he's going to think. I personally, if I owned Akers, I'm taking any first for him. I don't want to deal with that. It's just so much stress. You have no idea how it's going to be when he comes back. Darrell Henderson's going to be there, and he's going to have a chance to prove himself this year as the undisputed starter. Their numbers from last regular season are pretty comparable. I would say that I'm Team Henderson, but Akers is obviously the way more talented back. But it's not like Henderson's like a scrub who's going to just completely shit the bed. Like, he was pretty productive when given the chance, just not as much as Akers. So it's a tough situation. If I'm trying to buy him, I'd throw maybe an early second. But if I'm selling him, I'm taking any first I can get for him.
Now with Darrell Henderson, right? 5 days ago when Cam Akers wasn't injured, I'm not worried at all about Darrell Henderson for Cam Akers this year. I think it's Cam's job. He's not losing it to Darrell Henderson. He's probably not even giving up a whole lot of snap share to Darrell Henderson this season. But now you have to expect Cam to come back at 100% for that to be the case. And it just hasn't happened before where it's been 100% return for a running back. So if he comes back 90%, I still think that's fine for Cam Akers. But then 80%,
I believe in their Akers talent more, but I do want to say, if you look up the regular season numbers between Henderson and Akers from last year, and again, I'm saying this, Akers was the more talented running back. They're more similar than you'd think.
Yeah, but Cam was also the rookie. He was injured.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying Akers is obviously more talented. I'm not here to say Henderson is equal to him. I'm here to say it's not just like an absolute scrub backup. Like, Henderson was probably one of the better backup running backs in football.
What's your fun fact, Frank?
Demaryius Thomas in 2011, grade 3 Achilles tear, right? That's the maximum Achilles tear you can have, the same one Akers has. Immediately following that, he put up 4 seasons of over 1,300 receiving yards. And then another 1,000 yards and another 950 yards.
When Cam switched to a wide receiver, I'll let you have that. But Cam's not a wide receiver. We just haven't seen that is
ridiculous. That's like saying, oh, well, this linebacker can't recover from an injury, but this corner, different. Dude, no, they're all cutting. They're all NFL athletes. That's bullshit.
Cam does completely different things than Demaryius Thomas.
Here's the fact. A fact is, if Cam Akers comes back and is successful, he will be the first running back to ever come back successfully from a torn
look
Achilles.
at all the running backs that had the Achilles tears. Whether they tore their Achilles or not, they're going to be out of the league in a year anyway.
Mikel LaShaw was in the same situation.
Trash. The only running back on that list
Marlon Mack is
actually
halfway
decent
was
Isaiah Crowell. Yeah, behind his sick offense, he was trash, dude. Look at the tape. He's trash.
He just had two 1,000-yard seasons.
He was terrible. I could have ran for 900 yards behind that O-line. And with that scheme, get the fuck out of here. Marlon Mack, trash. He's a bait, dude. The only running back that was halfway decent was Isaiah Crowell. And I'm pretty sure even by then he was a grandpa when he tore his Achilles. Get out of here, dude. If I have Cam Akers, I'm holding. Dude, I am buying for first. I am sending this trade offer. Easy money. Right. Give me him for a first round pick.
If that 23 first ends up being like the likes of Bijan Robinson, Tank Bigsby, or like even a couple of other running backs there, you just lost that.
I just want no part. I want no part of a player where he would be considered the first of all time in his position to come back successfully from that. If it pays out, congrats. I'm not taking that risk.
All right, and then last part of the Rams and our news and notes, like Darrell Henderson, the Rams came out and said it's probably his job. People have been flying out the name Xavier Jones. There's also Jake Funk there as the two other backups. Who was the other guy? Raymond Calais.
Go Terps.
Yeah, I can respect you showing up to your Maryland guy.
But I think whether the Rams are saying it or not, they're going to go out and get a veteran running back. But
that's the thing, though. Everyone's talking about like get a veteran running back. I understand the more concern if free agency was coming up, you can get like a Jamal Williams or something. Adrian Peterson right now isn't better than Darrell Henderson. Who are they
signing? Probably aren't looking for like the starter, but they're probably looking for someone else to carry
for depth. Yeah.
I wouldn't expect this guy to come in and then just take the share of take the majority of the snaps and everything. But I do expect them not to rely on the likes of Xavier Jones and Jake Funk to be behind Darrell Henderson.
I wouldn't mind the Peterson signing in LA. I think he's played with Stafford in Detroit last year. I mean, they have some familiarity. I think Peterson still's got some left in the tank. Obviously, he's not what he was, but I don't think he's a bad depth piece.
Well, could bring Frank Gore back. Frank Gore, 3 yards.
There's a lot of guys that they can
3 yards. 3 yards. No more, no less, Frank Gore.
I saw people floating out the idea of trading for, I don't really know what they have to trade anymore, the Rams, but I saw them floating out the ideas like Sony Michel, James Robinson, Jamal Williams.
James Robinson would be a threat to Darrell Henderson.
Yes.
That's a scenario where if you're banking on Henderson, you're in trouble because James Robinson's a talented running back. Sony Michel, I don't know how much his knee is holding up. If it's a trade, it opens up a bunch of things. But out of the veteran signings, it's more just don't put a ton of stock if you picked up, what are their names? Xavier Jones and Jake Funk. Yeah. Where do you guys see Henderson? What type of season do you guys see him having? Assume there's no major trade. He's the RB1. Maybe they pick up a veteran backup behind him, but it's mostly Henderson's backfield for the season.
I feel pretty confident.
I expect to see Stafford throw the ball 55 times a game.
I feel pretty confident that backup Kareem Hunt is finishing well ahead of Darrell Henderson.
Well ahead. Is Henderson getting more touches?
Yeah, Kareem Hunt does fine with less touches. Kareem Hunt's always.
I think Henderson ends up, and I do want to hear Frank's thought on it also. I think he ends up in around the mid RB2 range with how much that offense depends on running backs. Frank, is that a bad take to me or to JT?
All your guys takes this episode, man.
I
think you guys completely forget the coaching tree that Sean McVay.
I was gonna say they're gonna use
and
Henderson
the philosophy that they use, dude. First off, I don't even remember the last time that Sean McVay has even signed a running back in free agency, let alone any notable one. CJ Anderson. Okay, yeah, that actually kind of worked out. All right, that's a good example. But dude, this is a philosophy that goes through Shanahan, goes through LaFleur. Dude,
running backs are replaceable. So why are you saying that Cam Akers is going to come back?
Well, if you let me finish first off.
Finish the point.
It's not that running backs are replaceable. It's that running backs are a beneficiary of the scheme. What, did the Packers just go out and replace Aaron Jones? No, obviously you want a talented running back. But at the end of the day, running backs don't make the scheme. The scheme makes the running backs in these systems. And if Sean McVay is able to find any one of these dudes, it doesn't matter which one it is, if they're able to get hot, he is going to spam them. That's how they do it. If they find any sort of tactical advantage, whether it's Henderson, freaking one-legged Cam Akers, Simon Gurley, Jake Funk, doesn't matter. If they're having success, they are going to spam it, and it will change from game to game to game. So I don't really think that this is Darrell Henderson's backfield. I think it'd be foolish to think that day one that he's just going to instantly replace all of Cam Akers' workload.
Oh, from the way you're framing the argument, I thought this was going to be a pro Darrell Henderson take. I'm on your side.
It could be. It's just, dude, look at last year. Like, freaking that kid that got signed by the Dolphins. What's his name? That running back, Malcolm Brown. Okay. There were games where Malcolm Brown was getting like 18 carries. And then the next game, Darrell Henderson would get 20 carries. And then all of a sudden at the end of the season, Cam Akers is getting all the carries.
Darrell Henderson only had 15 carries 3 times last year.
So it's like, I think if you think that you're going to predict this backfield before training camp with an injured Cam Akers, I think that is foolish to do so.
I think in redraft, Darrell Henderson's a start bait.
My final prediction, if I had to make a prediction on Henderson, I think he finishes around RB 16 to 18. Hayden now come back to me at the end of this regular season. I wouldn't be surprised if it's higher. If he starts to get hot. In the games, he saw 40% snaps or more last season, which he'll probably see for most of the year this year. He averaged, I think it was 14.5 fantasy points per game. In games, he saw 40% of snaps or higher in half PPR. And last year, he had 138 carries, 624, 4.5 yards per carry, had around a little bit under 20 catches. I believe in his talent still. He was still someone they spent 2 third-round picks on. He was able to hold off Cam Akers from getting the full starting job for a bit last year. And Cam Akers is obviously the more talented back when healthy. But I think Henderson, I still like him a lot. I consider him probably, out of all the running backs, probably like a top 8 backup running back in the NFL, top 10.
Yeah, that's saying a lot.
I'm not here to be like he's the next fucking coming of, I don't know. But I think he's going to have a pretty good season. It's hard to predict stats, but I'm going to say kind of like that mid RB2 range, mid-high RB2. Like I said, 16, 18. Come back to me at the end of the year.
I'm with Frank on this one. I think it's going to be very hard to predict this backfield week to week. I think they're going to do what the old Shanahan offense does and ride the hot hand. And
that's what I'm saying.
It might be Henderson. It might not be. This backfield is a mess. It's going to be a mess.
I agree with you, but
there's no way I would predict any of these running backs to finish top 24.
My bet is I'll make a bet on someone that Henderson finishes top 24, despite maybe like if he tears an ACL or something.
I'm not saying that Henderson won't finish top 24. I think that if you are going out there and drafting or buying Henderson at an RB18 price, I think that's a pretty stupid move.
But
I think he could easily be a Mike Davis, where he has a great season this year, goes into free agency, and a team that desperately needs a cheap running back, like the Falcons did, goes out and sign him. And then all of a sudden he's there for it looked like a 1-year thing where, a backup just rose to power. But then all of a sudden you turn that into a 3-year thing. But I'm not going to buy at that price. If I have him, sure, I'll hold him and I'll be happy about it.
Frank, if you own Darrell Henderson, what would it take for you to sell him? Let's assume you're a competitor.
Probably 2 seconds.
That's where I probably lean. I don't think I'm selling for 1 second.
Well, if everyone's thinking he's going to be RB18, isn't that? I mean, you can. That's David Montgomery right now. David Montgomery's worth more than 2 seconds, probably. So maybe that's an undersell if you're going off of rankings right now.
I'd rather go out and trade for David Montgomery at that point then.
Me too. It's just you can kind of see the flaw where it's like, why am I buying Darrell Henderson at a David Montgomery price, or even slightly below that.
Well, I mean, I think the person you tweet out at me when I was talking about Myles Gaskin's probably the most similar. No.
Yeah.
I think Henderson's a more talented back than Gaskin.
I think I would rather have Henderson too, but like it's not clear cut.
Because of the scheme and also the talent. But Jake, the last thing I'll say to you, that is true with we don't know in terms of like who has the hottest. My bet is I think unless if a trade happens, it changes things. What I'm saying in confidence is I believe Henderson is pretty easily the most talented back on that roster right now, and more talented than any potential free agent they could bring in.
Right, but I would have said the same thing last year about Cam Akers, and yet there were weeks where Henderson went off. There were weeks where Malcolm Brown went off.
Once Akers understood the scheme, the backfield was his. I think that was just a rookie learning the scheme.
All right, look, guys, last thing, and then we can move on, right? The 2 running backs ahead of Henderson and 2 running backs below Henderson on keep trade cut. It's Josh Jacobs and Kareem Hunt above, Chris Carson and Trey Sermon below. I mean, just looking at that, I'd rather have all 4 of those guys than Darrell Henderson.
It's not even close. I'd rather have all 4 of those guys by a fair margin.
Long term, I don't know. Next season, Henderson's going to do pretty well. I'll make a podcast bet with you right now. Top 20 running back next season. Half PPR Joe Henderson. Back up your words. Make a podcast bet. I'm back.
Wow, I said top 20, outside top 24, and you're like top 20. Like it's.
You said outside. Yeah, I gave you an edge.
The difference between 20 and 24 is like 5 points. It could happen. 18? Sure, he'll finish below top 18. Sure.
Okay.
Oh,
we'll think of the bet.
I just want to see Frank's trade get accepted on here.
Andrew's pretty stubborn, so I don't.
A first for Cam Akers at this point, like
I would accept it.
Yeah. Andrew loves Cam Akers though. Anyway,
moving on. I mean, the only other news and notes is like the NFL just came out with like a vaccination policy and like the COVID thing. I mean, it's something to monitor. The players are tweeting out about it.
Wait, you guys are forgetting. Apparently Zach Ertz won't get traded now.
As of right now,
it's looking like he might. They're going in the training camp with him, but I still wouldn't be surprised if he's moved before the season starts.
I mean, some people are saying Aaron Rodgers will show up to training camp and then will be traded. So we'll see. All right. Our fourth. Oh, go ahead, Lounis.
No. Never mind.
All right, 4th round mock. I mean, at this point, it's just dart throw, so we're kind of just going to want to talk about players that we like instead. I've seen dynasty leagues where they don't even go into the 4th round. These are guys that like you might stash on your taxi and might end up getting cut a few weeks in if you find a better waiver wire guy. So looking around the league, Jake, do you want to talk about one of the players you like first? That could be a 4th round target.
Sure. One of the guys that I like in the 4th round, I actually had him in the early 3rd of our last mock draft, of this mock draft, excuse me. It's Anthony Schwartz. He's obviously a receiver on the Browns. I just like him. I think he's a guy that could really fit their scheme pretty nicely. He's a speedster to pair next to Odell and Jarvis Landry in the slot. I just think this offense could really use one of these pure speedsters like he has. Obviously, they paid up with the 3rd round draft capital in him. I think he'll just help the offense in general, to go around with everything they have between Chubb and my guy Kareem Hunt out of the backfield, Landry in the slot, Odell on the outside. You pair him with the speedster. I think he's going to get a lot of open looks just because of everyone that the defense is going to have to cover, not named Anthony Schwartz.
Well, I'm kind of just going to piggyback off you with my guy. I'm not really Anthony Schwartz's biggest fan. I mean, obviously, I'm the Seth Williams guy of this pod, and they played together. I'm a Seth Williams guy.
Yikes.
Yikes.
But I do like where he landed. I think, with the Cleveland Browns, a lot of their skill players are starting to age out to the point of you've got Jarvis Landry, you've got OBJ, and then you've also got Chubb and Hunt who are, 25, 26, or 24, 25. Either way, they're starting to get older. So, and they're, I think Hunt has 1 year left on his contract now. He extended it to 2 years. So 1 year left. Like they're starting to age out of the team. And so I'm just going to build off of you with another Cleveland Brown player that I picked as my 4th round dart throw, and that's Demetric Felton out of UCLA. Pretty good pass catching player. He can kind of do, slot receiver work. He could be that pass catching back. He's just kind of that gadget weapon guy that in the 4th round, I think he's a good throw. Just maybe he lands that opportunity. Maybe he doesn't. But in the 4th round, I'm not finding many other guys who have his kind of skill set.
I like Demetric Felton. I think the one thing that dropped his draft stock in the actual draft, and for me, because he's someone that I liked early in the process, is that maybe he was hurt. I don't know what the hell happened. He tested terribly, like awfully, terribly awful.
What like his 40 time? I've seen
his entire athletic profile was trashed here.
I've seen some of those receivers kind of in his build kind of help and hurt themselves. Like a lot of times those smaller receivers, they'll get told to put on muscle. I don't know if this was the case with him. I didn't follow his testing, but they'll get told to put on muscle. They do that, then their 40 time gets worse than some of their athletics. Whereas I remember that happened to Jalen Reagor. His like combine versus pro day times are different. Because he was putting on weight. So maybe that was the case. I have no idea. But
Travis Etienne did something similar this year where he just put on like 15 pounds of fat.
Oh, it was just
because he wanted to look bigger.
Yeah, I do know that happens with some speed guys. They get told to put on muscle. They put it like 10, 15 pounds on, and like everyone's like, how are their 40 times so slow? It's like because you just put on 15 pounds of muscle. So maybe that was the case.
Yeah, he really did not test well. He's 190 pounds. He had like almost a 4.6 40 at his pro day. So, like, it just doesn't bode well. But you cannot deny that the guy is electric on tape. Yep. He was really good at the Senior Bowl. So I think you're right, JT, as a 4th round pick. This guy could be a massive steal in a year or two's time. It's just you talk about being a unicorn to a certain extent. Guys of his athletic profile, the only one that really exists in the league right now is Jarvis Landry. And he was still a 2nd round pick because he was extremely polished coming out. It's just the odds are really stacked against Felton, but I still like him enough in the 4th.
A guy in the 4th round who I picked that I liked, Cornell Powell. If you can get him towards later, how is it possible for there to be bait in the middle of the 4th round?
That's fair, but it still feels like
I'm not saying spend like
because,
a second
dude,
or third
I care about the 4th round. This is my rounds, man. The late rounds are where I'm at.
Okay. I think the Chiefs are super thin at receiver after Tyreek Hill. None of those guys, who do they have? It's Byron Pringle.
They all Mecole Hardman.
See, this is the problem, though, Lounis. The first positive you said about Cornell Powell
I was building
just about how bad the other receivers were.
I was building him up. I was setting the stage. You gotta let me set the stage before the main star comes.
Yeah, set the stage for the star to come out and drop a big old juice.
I'm setting the stage. The receivers are ass after Tyreek Hill. Is pretty much it summed up. They're fast, but they're not good. I think they spent a 5th round pick on him, so not crazy draft capital, but it's not like he was a 7th rounder undrafted. I like some of his tape at Clemson. He's a huge jacked receiver. He's strong as hell. I thought his route running was a little bit better than I expected it to be. I thought he played decent in that game against Ohio State. I was impressed with some of his film from that game. I think he can kind of start to fill in for that role that they had Sammy Watkins playing in, with kind of more of that big-bodied receiver that they want to help like contrast with a lot of the speed guys they have. I just think he's someone worth taking a waiver on with. I think they have a vision for him in that offense. With, like I said, he's kind of a different build than all their other receivers, and just being attached to Mahomes, you get a small boost. So he's someone I'm looking at in like the mid-4th. That's my opinion. Does anyone? I know Frank doesn't like him.
Yeah, I'm not touching him with a 10-foot pole.
In like the 4th? I'll take him.
Dude. I value 4th round picks.
Like. I'll take him. Yeah, Seth Williams. He might go in the 5th.
I think I drafted him in the 5th in our league. But regardless, there's like, well, I'll let Frank go. I just think it would have been funny though if we just gave you a silent treatment after you gave the whole spiel on
when Cornell Powell balls out. Cornell Powell.
Well, like I would rather have Dez Fitzpatrick, Marquez Stevenson, Shi Smith, Frank Darby, Myron Mitchell, Cade Johnson, and Daz Newsome before Cornell Powell.
Dez Fitzpatrick, I think I had in the 3rd. I would take him in the mid-3rd. Some of those other guys, I'll take the chance on Powell. Y'all wait.
I mean, I can just run through where I like some of the Marquez Stevenson. It just sucks because you talk about a guy that's like the Bills have like 1,000 receivers, and they all are actually pretty decent. And there's no way that they all make the team. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, Cole Beasley might be retiring.
Yeah, who the odd man out? Yeah, he might be. R.I.P. the most undervalued wide receiver 2 of all time. Shy can fly. Shy Smith, dude. I actually like Shy a lot just because of the situation that he's in. Matt Rule, the first player that he pulled aside at the Senior Bowl was Shy Smith. I think that kind of tells you how much he likes him. He was a guy that just hasn't been able to put it together. I think he's definitely more of a long-term play than someone that you can realistically expect to have year one production because he just has too many issues.
Yeah, you're also waiting for like Robbie Anderson to leave.
Yeah, I think that like for a 4th-round pick though, he's a really nice 4th-round pick. I had him as like a 3rd-round pick coming into the season, and then I mean, Myron Mitchell and Cade Johnson are 2 undrafted guys that I like that I have my sights on. You don't have to take them in the 4th round. You probably don't have to take them at all. They're just 2 guys that I like their tape a lot. And I guess lastly, I like Frank Darby, dude. I think that Frank Darby is pretty underrated. I know I just said that I like all these guys, but Frank Darby, Arizona State, he got injured his senior year, I think it was, so he wasn't really able to show what he had. And then with COVID, he got injured on top of the fact that the Pac-12 played like 4 games. So he really didn't have a chance to shine this year. I thought he played all right at the Senior Bowl. He did have some slight issues separating, but he's got pretty sure hands. I don't love him in the 4th, but it's hard to like anyone in the 4th, to be honest. Like love.
Yeah. I like a lot of those guys. I like Frank Darby. I think he has an opportunity in Atlanta here to really step up into a role vacated or some targets vacated by Julio. Yeah, another guy that you didn't mention that I like also went undrafted in Sage Surratt. I thought he was going to be drafted. I really liked his tape at Wake Forest. He was all ACC wide receiver, which obviously has some really good wide receivers. And he signed in Detroit, which people are hyping up Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I like Amon-Ra as well. He's a very good receiver in his own right, but they're saying like part of the reason is just because there's no receivers in Detroit, and I think Sage Surratt is another one of these guys that could definitely benefit from wide open competition here, and maybe carve out a nice role for himself.
Surprisingly, I actually like Sage Surratt more than I dislike him. I think the thing that people will instantly see is that they compare him to like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside or N'Keal Harry because he's just one of those big-bodied physical receivers that struggle to separate. But I would like to say that don't judge a player based off of another player, even if they're just similar. Like, you pay nothing for him. And I do think he has some decent upside. So I like you. I like him in the 4th.
The 3 other guys.
I think you can get him even later than the 4th in most drafts. You can probably get him in the 5th. Yeah.
Well, once you get into the 4th or 5th, it's kind of just like a get your guy kind of thing. So it's very hard to predict who's going where.
I would also argue that, generally speaking, in the 4th round of these drafts, I think that going for running backs for the most part is a bait. And like a pretty massive bait.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the 3 guys that I still like here are, I'll just run through them real quick. Jalen Darden, he's my like small school, just random guy that I like. Then I have 2 tight ends in Jacob Harris, who's been getting a lot of pre-camp hype, which could be bait. I mean, it always kind of does feel like bait when you have this random guy coming out of nowhere. But we saw it with Robert Tonyan last year, so who knows? And then other guy who's getting hype out of the Colts is Kyle Granson. Just random hype.
I don't know are we doing a 5th round one next week?
Probably not. Right?
Probably not.
I probably should have had Granson in my 4th round. Now that I'd probably take Granson over Daz Newsome and Jared Patterson.
So I'll throw out just one of them. I don't know if you mentioned it last episode. I know for the most part Frank is right, but I'm saying if you have like a mid-5th and you don't know who the fuck to take and you're just considering like maybe some washed veteran, see if Javion Hawkins or Jared Dokes are there. Those are probably the only 2 running backs.
So I would say 5th round is different though, because in the 4th round, it's usually a lot of those late draft pick guys that people liked coming in that just kind of stink. I think the biggest example is that dude who got drafted by the Packers. What's his name? Kylan Hill.
Kylan Hill.
Like, not that Kylan Hill is terrible. I actually don't hate him all that much. It's just the hit rates for a 6th or 7th round running back is like a lot lower than they are for UDFAs. And 99.9% of the UDFAs, unless they're in one of those situations is wide open, are going in the 5th. I think Javian Hawkins is like one of the only UDFAs that will consistently go in the 4th round or even above sometimes. But like I drafted in our league James Robinson in the 5th round, and like 5th round is like super dart throw. Go ahead, take any freaking position you want that just has any semblance of upside. 4th round though, I do think you can still be calculated in your picks.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, those two guys I listed, I mentioned for the 5th round. 4th round, there are still some receivers that are falling where I agree with you, Frank. I'm more talented than those 6th, 7th round running backs.
All right. Are we good to break down the AFC West?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Why is my name always highlighted?
I just copy over the document. All right, quarterbacks. AFC West quarterback. So we got the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Chad Henne, the Broncos with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, the Chargers with Justin Herbert, Chase Daniel, and Easton Stick, and the Raiders with Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota. I mean, I feel like we could just skip over the Chiefs here. Like, well, we really have to say Patrick Mahomes is good.
Yeah.
Moving on. I mean, this is probably the big one. Drew Lock versus Teddy Bridgewater. Who's the starter this year?
I'll tell you, neither's the one next year.
Probably.
I think they're gonna start with Drew Lock, but he's gonna be on a short leash just because Teddy. You know what you're getting in Teddy. I think Drew Lock's upside is higher, and you can't go back to him. Similar to with Trubisky last year with Foles behind him, you can't go back to Trubisky or Lock in this case. Once you've benched him, at that point you're just saying you're moving on. But if you start and then you can go to Teddy. But if you start with Teddy, you're kind of stuck with Teddy the whole year, and you'll never see Drew Lock again. So I do think Drew Lock gets the nod out of camp, but it's going to be a very short leash. I don't know how long he lasts, to be completely honest with you.
I feel like I agree basically with all that.
Yeah, same sentiment.
Here's the reason that I like Teddy more than I like Drew Lock.
I mean, I like Teddy more, yeah, but
is that I think that Teddy Bridgewater survives after Denver, especially considering Tyrod Taylor survived this long.
Yes, because Teddy's a guy that, like I said, you know what you're getting. He's a very consistent, safe quarterback, and he will be someone else's backup and or someone else's bridge quarterback post Denver. Drew Lock, it's either you're going to be the starter in Denver or you're going to be out of the league.
Yeah, or just like a forever backup. And I just think that from my analysis before his draft on him and from what we've seen now, I actually feel like the Drew Lock is underrated to a certain extent, at least his keep trade cut value. I think that most owners won't sell him at a QB 35 price because he still does have upside. It's just I'm not going to pay an actual price tag for him. Like, expecting him to be the starter. I only want to pick him up for good value. Whereas Teddy Bridgewater, I think, is pretty somewhat fair at his value. I don't even think Teddy Bridgewater, you probably don't even have to pay a late second for. You can probably get him for an early third, which is pretty decent if you desperately need a quarterback who can play for like the next 2 years.
I mean, I'm probably the biggest Drew Lock hater on this podcast. Nah, I don't really hate him a whole ton, but like, this would be the year that if he's going to break out, it's this one, because you look at, he did lose his number one receiver in Cortland Sutton.
They have him loaded with weapons.
Well, but he wasn't last year because Cortland Sutton went down. You had rookie Jerry Jeudy. Tim Patrick was his number one target because Noah Fant was also battling injuries. Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay. Yeah, this year.
If he doesn't look good, like you have Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams behind you. Melvin Gordon's starting quality, and we all think Javonte's a stud. You have Noah Fant, one of the best young tight ends in the game. And you have Cortland Sutton, who last time he was healthy just had 1,100 yards. And Jerry Jeudy was a first-round receiver last year and started off rough, but at the end of the year looked pretty decent for a rookie. I still like Jerry Jeudy a lot. Like, that's about as good as the situation you can ask for. The O-line's not terrible. If he doesn't do well this year, I think that's
Although, what's his name? who's their tackle that just like tore his Achilles or
Frank, what are your quick thoughts on Denver's O-line?
No.
It's pretty shit. I like that they picked up Quinn Meinerz. I think that Quinn Meinerz is pretty good, but it's not elite. Like their O-lines in the NFL seem to go either you are like a good group or you are dog crap. There's very little there's only a handful of teams that are pretty damn average.
Well, all right. If we want to just move on.
I'm waiting for the day this episode drops for Aaron Rodgers to be traded to Denver.
But that one Denver tackle, that the kid who was a bust, that he actually turned around. Their other tackle, he's pretty good.
I
forget his name. Yeah, I think it's Bowles. Yeah,
Juwan James is the one who tore his Achilles or whatever.
Yeah.
So the other guy.
Juwan James wasn't playing, I don't think, anyway. So I don't think that they're going to miss him all that much. The guy hasn't seen the field at all.
But speaking of poor line, we can move on to the Raiders real quick. I want to talk about the Raiders.
Raiders are much more interesting than the Chargers at quarterback here.
Yeah, we've got Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota.
You guys all saying you're most underrated? I said he was underrated, but I don't know what the most.
I think
there's not an easy choice for most underrated here.
Yeah, I think Derek Carr gets like a little bit too much unnecessary hate. I think this is, when you're relying on an injured Bryan Edwards, a rookie Henry Ruggs, and then it's just Darren Waller, basically Hunter Renfrow and Nelson Aguilar as your guys.
He still produced in that offense.
Yeah,
too.
He still did fine. I think my issue with him though is I don't know how much Gruden really likes him. I don't know.
I don't think he loves him.
I agree. I don't think he's really Gruden's favorite. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know about that though.
The Raiders were in rumors for a quarterback. I think one of the last 2 off seasons. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I forgot as well. But I wouldn't be surprised.
They were in rumors for a Rodgers sweepstake too.
Was it Rodgers?
Yes,
I think it was Rodgers and Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford was in. They were in on Stafford as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish middle of the road. 8-8 or. Sorry, I guess it'll be 9-8 or 8-9 now that there's 17 games.
I don't think they're going to finish above 500.
If they finish around 500, I really wouldn't be surprised to see them try to make a move to move up slightly and get a quarterback in this year's draft coming up. So, who knows?
This is a tough
I don't know.
division.
The one thing though is that Gruden wants a smart quarterback, and I can understand. If you had Derek Carr on your fantasy team. And all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers is on the block. What? You're going to say that you're trying to win a championship? You're not going to try and upgrade? I think it was more one of those scenarios. Derek Carr's a smart quarterback, though. John Gruden's offense, and he wants smart quarterbacks. If you go and watch, it was the Gruden's quarterback camp with Jimmy Clausen, I think it was. And there was a play where Jimmy Clausen, this is college, too, checks a route at the line of scrimmage and then throws a pick on a miscommunication. He's like, dude, you realize if you do that in the NFL, you will not play for anyone, especially me. And kind of look what happened, right? You don't get that kind of stuff out of Derek Carr, and you know that. Compared to a young quarterback, you have no idea. So Derek Carr to me is just in that he's good, but clearly if there's a better quarterback on the market, you're going to go and get those guys.
Fair.
I don't think they'll be in a position where they'll be high enough to draft another quarterback.
I think Raiders are low-key good. They just needed a defense last year, and they would have been a playoff team.
Yeah, but they didn't get a defense this offseason. And their O-line got worse.
You hating, Lounis. You hating.
I just don't think I'd see them being a 6 or 7 win team.
Dude, the thing is, though, is that the Raiders were able to beat the best teams last year.
I know, and I'm not saying it's going to be Derek Carr's fault or Gruden's fault. I just think their O-line isn't that good, and it got slightly worse. And I think their defense, especially their secondary, is awful.
I think the O-line struggles are so overstated.
Didn't they trade away one of their O-linemen or release one of them?
Cut them.
Yeah, they
just
the
cut
problem is, though, is that they had the highest paid O-line, and 80% of them didn't play.
Yeah, and then the
what are you gonna do? Just pay guys that don't play?
The O-lineman they drafted, I think they're going to play a little bit out of position.
Alex Otherwood, I think, is good. I like him.
I like him, but they're using him. I forgot whatever he played in college. They're playing him the other spot in the NFL. Left tackle. I think they're playing him in guard in the NFL, or he was a guard in college and they're playing him left tackle.
No, he played left tackle. I think he played left tackle.
I forgot, but either way, I didn't love the pick at the time. Even though I like him, I didn't love where they select. I don't know. It's not Derek Carr's fault that I'm picking them low. It's more their defense and O-line.
All right, and sticking on the Raiders, is Mariota? Will Mariota start for another team?
I think so. I think he will.
He thinks he does
because
pretty good in the start.
When I look at the league right now, there are at least 3 teams off the top of my head that I would rather have Marcus Mariota as my starting quarterback. It would be obviously the Texans. That's a no-brainer. I honestly think I would rather have Marcus Mariota start than Daniel Jones. So that would be the Giants as my number 2 team.
All right.
What about the Broncos?
Yeah, the Broncos are definitely close at number 3. I mean, I think Marcus Mariota and Teddy Bridgewater are pretty damn...
Mariota over Bridgewater.
I don't know. I think it's pretty damn close. I think Mariota is like... The problem with Mariota is he's way more inconsistent with Teddy. Teddy, you get the same guy every game, but Mariota at his peak is like a legitimately really good quarterback. You only get that 1 out of every 3 or 4 games, though. I guess there might be 2 more. Eagles might be 1 if I'm trying to win a Super Bowl this year. But even then, like obviously, if I'm a franchise, I'd rather have Jalen Hurts. And there was 1 more I was thinking. I can't remember. Who are the other teams with bad quarterbacks? I'm blanking
the
right
Redskins. If you'd rather have them over
football team. God.
Oh my God.
What is false about every single?
I don't know. I think I'd rather have Fitzmagic than Mariota starting for me.
Darnold versus Mariota.
Ooh, that's close.
I take Mariota over.
I think
the point here is that there are a lot of teams that we'd rather have Mariota, or it's very close to we would rather have Mariota. So for that point, if any of these quarterbacks is to get hurt, or any of these teams want to make a move or need a quarterback midseason, I think Mariota is a guy that the Raiders will definitely part with. I mean, I think Carr has earned his starting spot there. I think we'd all rather have Carr than Mariota. At least Gruden thinks so.
Mariota wanted to be there, which was kind of surprising. Like he willingly took a pay cut and possibly a non-starting job to be in Vegas.
Was that last offseason?
I'm pretty sure that was this offseason.
This offseason? I wouldn't be surprised if Gruden told him, like, hey, you might have a shot to start.
Maybe. I don't know. Because you're right. Like, it seems like everything works well with Derek Carr, but there's so many rumblings and things. Like, there's just enough to make you think that Derek Carr's spot isn't set. And that's enough, at least. I don't know about for you guys, but for me to say, I am not going to buy Derek Carr.
I mean, I'm probably not buying either of these guys, to be honest. I'd rather just buy someone for, like, that I'm more comfortable with. Like, I'm not gambling on these quarterbacks. With quarterbacks, I just want guys I know, like, they're going to be my stable, starter, super flex guy. Like,
okay, well, speaking of that guy, Justin Herbert.
I love Justin Herbert.
I think that this is crazy because I think that he's the most underrated quarterback. I think that he's the type of dude that if he's available in your league for an overpay, you do that overpay and you just hold for the next 10 years.
I mean, so you said the most under. It's hard for me to say the. I said correct. I said QB4. You have Kyler. I mean, no, you have Mahomes. Whatever order. Allen, then Kyler, then him. Then following him, you have your preference of Dak, Lamar, Dak.
Well, see, that's the problem. Is that I think that I would have Herbert over Kyler.
Let's go.
Damn. I'm still at this point
Kyler too. Kyler. It's just Herbert. The thing is with Herbert is that I see Stafford. I see one of those elite level quarterbacks that's going to be playing very consistently for a long time, barring any crazy circumstances.
I'm not disputing that. I can see that.
And he's cool as fuck.
I can see that, but with Kyler, I think Kyler's kind of similar to Lamar, but a little bit of a better passer.
Dude, he's the blender. What was that blender, Jake?
Oh, the Ninja Blender?
Yeah, he's the Ninja Blender of quarterbacks, dude.
He's so reliable, you only have to buy him one time and you're good for life.
Exactly. Like, dude, he's worth that high-end price, that overpay price that you're going to pay for in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I have Herbert, and I am not even dreaming about selling him in our league. Like,
I mean, I agree with that statement. I think any of
That'd
those
be a nightmare.
I think any of those top 4 are worth the trade. Like, if you're trading for Mahomes, odds are it's going to be worth it. If you're trading for Josh Allen, odds are it's going to be worth it. If you're trading for Kyler, odds are it's going to be worth it. If you're trading for Herbert, odds are it's going to be worth it. You could probably make the same case for Lamar, Dak, but those get a little bit more. I don't feel as confident about those 2 as I do the first 4.
All right, let's move on to running backs, though. Enough jerking off Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to put him as my most underrated, but I don't want to be accused of being a Jake on here.
I see. I just have Grimmy put up. I don't have the Twitch put up. I see. Happy to read the chat. We have Twitch chats coming in.
Make fun of Jake for bad trades was what I was told.
Because Lamar. That guy traded.
We're not even talking about the AFC North. AFC North. Get out of here.
All right, running backs, though.
Running backs. So, keep trade cut rankings on the teams. We got Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the Chiefs. Keep trade cut rating of RB12. Darrell Williams, RB72. Darwin Thompson, 98. Jerick McKinnon, not ranked. Then you got the Broncos with Javonte Williams as running back 19. Melvin Gordon, 47. Royce Freeman, 104. Mike Boone, not ranked. Then you got Austin Eckler on the Chargers as RB18. Justin Jackson, 86. Josh Kelly, 65. And Larry Roundtree, 62. And finally, you have the Raiders with Josh Jacobs, RB21. Kenyon Drake, 39. Jalen Richard, not ranked. And Trey Regis, not ranked. So I guess kicking it off with the Chiefs, I actually, selfless, shameless plug here. I wrote an article for 3rd-and-20.com where I evaluated all the 2020 running backs.
Link in the description.
Oh, nice. Link in the description. I got my thing in the description. Let's go. I put a sell evaluation on
what they have him at.
He's RB12. So what do you think about that one? I said
I'm pretty confident in Clyde Edwards-Helaire being a top 12 dynasty back next season. I'm not saying finishing top 12 this upcoming season, but I just mean in terms of dynasty back value. I'd bet the house on it. Like him being top 12 dynasty back next year. That backfield's his. He was playing really well this year before he got hurt. And that backfield's all his again in the Chiefs offense. He has another year in the system. He's a receiving back. He can catch and run routes, can pass protect, runs the football. I like him a lot. I'd buy him. If I can get him at RB12 price, I'd buy him because I view him as a top 10 guy going forward. Now that Akers is out, there's another spot open. I'm bumping up Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That makes me feel better about my sell rating on him. That Lounis just said that stuff.
I believe in him.
I actually think I agree, Lounis. JT.
Thank you.
Just because I just think that I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If I had him, I'd probably hold him more than sell him necessarily.
And that's why I put in my article too. Sorry, keep going. When
push comes to shove, I view him more of as like an RB2 with good upside than an RB1. And right now at RB12, obviously he's a low end RB1, but dude, you're getting to that point where he's got to be your guy. He's got to be your Aaron Jones. He's got to be your Ezekiel Elliott from a few years ago. Like if you have him or you're buying him in a startup draft, you're relying on this dude week in and week out to perform. And I don't really trust him that much. And I liked him a lot coming out, and I still like him now. And he's obviously in a great situation. I'm just not sure I'm going to buy into him at an RB1 price. I'd be much more comfortable at an RB2.
It's about the cheapest RB1 if it's RB12.
Yeah, it's just last year I see Miles Sanders getting drafted early second round. And I think that that's more of the Clyde Edwards-Helaire scenario than me picking up Aaron Jones. The
issue with CEH is that it's kind of what with Lucas pointing to Cornell Powell, where you're pointing to the situation more than you are the player. At least that's why he rose so much.
I still like his talent. He was drafted in the first round. I like him because of the fact that he's also a receiving threat. He's the best receiving running back out of his class. Maybe Swift is close, but
Swift is better receiving back. Swift had more targets. Swift was the better receiving back coming out of college. The issue with CEH to me is you look at a situation and sure, that's fine, but like that's why he rose so much before the draft. That's why, like he was probably like the 5th prospect, maybe even 6th when you're considering that Najee Harris and Travis Etienne were still there too, and like being considered before the draft even happened. Then we're looking at him, right? And people go like, oh, it's a complicated offense that you're supposed to learn, or oh, he doesn't really have any competition. Like you've got Darrell Williams behind him. But like those are baits to me, right? Like CH, something I looked at that's interesting, right? And here's Tinder girl JT. I feel like that could be a good Twitch emoji. But CH would be the smallest like Twitch emote. That's what I was looking for. CH would be like the smallest running back to finish in the top 24, other than Nyheim Hines. So he didn't really have a whole lot of red zone rushes either. Like I think he is like this tiny little bowling ball, but he hasn't really shown that he's got that physicality running up the middle. You really kind of have to scheme the ball to him. And I mean, if you're the Chiefs, why are we going to try and scheme the ball CH when we could just scheme it to Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill? Like it's easier to get the ball to those guys anyway. Like why are we going to try and manufacture it for CH?
I think his receiving game is what makes me a believer. It's not just only the rushing; it's his receiving game. I could see him having the 3rd most catches on the team if he stays healthy. That's not a crazy statement.
I think it's a firm hold. I think that he's a guy. I think RB12, RB13 is pretty dang.
I do want to hear Jake's thoughts real quick.
I mean, I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think he's slightly overrated at running back 12. I think there's a few guys rated below him that I'd rather have that I'm more confident in their floor. I think Edwards-Helaire does have a higher ceiling than most, but his floor is one of these things that I'm a little concerned about, just because I think that the Chiefs are going to run up the score on a lot of teams, and people are going to say, "Oh, that's going to give him a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards." But I don't think that's necessarily the case, because if they run up the score, they're going to take him out. They're going to let Darrell Williams and Darwin Thompson, Jerick McKinnon, whoever's behind him here in this upcoming season, take those garbage time touches and just not risk the injury here. Yes, I like his receiving upside. Yes, I like his ceiling, but I think a lot of the red zone touches, a lot of the big touchdowns also are going to go to Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Nothing new in this offense.
I mean, yeah, like I said, those are the main two. I don't know. I like him. If I could buy him at RB12 price, I would, but he's not being sold at RB12 price.
Correct, and that's the
reality
problem.
of the situation.
I mean, you're going to have to pay up. People are going to treat him like a top 10 back.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I put the C, because I'm like, if I could get him at that price, I would. I can't.
So really quickly though, I do think that Darrell Williams is the backup to own in this division, and probably one of the better backups to own in the league.
Probably.
I agree big time on this one.
Simply because I think that he got the trust of the coaching staff in the playoffs last year, and if CEH does go down, he truly does have that low RB1 type upside. By situation, not by talent. But I mean,
if he has low RB1 upside, then what do you think CEH has? As a way more talented
Frank said running back 12,
what his price is, dude.
Yeah, Frank said his price
that would be for the next couple years. The backfield
is.
I don't know. I believe him.
Anyways, let's move on to Denver.
If you could package CEH with a little bit and just move up to running back that is kind of more confident, that's what I would do personally. But all right, let's move on.
This is a beautiful site right here on this Google Doc. I'll pull it up on stream. You ready for this? Hold on, let me.
I'm ready. Twitch is delayed, so I can't. You're
gonna have the Javonte Williams one.
Yeah, Javonte Williams line here.
Look at that! Look at that!
And
all U's in a fat C, baby.
I'm surprised you were the 1C. Who'd you put as most underrated?
Is C or U better?
I think U is better, because then you're saying 19 is
close.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, confident.
We're saying it should be higher.
Original meaning of it.
Yeah. Okay, well then I'll put a U there.
Okay.
Straight U's across the board.
I got you, boss.
We love our Javonte Williams. I mean, it's odd, when you have Najee Harris and Travis Etienne ranked above him, and we all said Javonte Williams is our running back one of this class. It's a pretty easy choice to then go, okay, he's the underrated one.
He's a stud. We've had so much content talking about how much we love Javonte and the reasons why. 19 is low.
I mean, whether Melvin Gordon gets traded or anything this offseason, start of the season, or it's just, his contract's over this year. Like, it's Jamonte's backfield 2022 on 2023 on, but I think he does pick it up. Definitely not week 1, but week 4, week 5. Like, I think it's an early transition to Javonte, in my opinion.
Well, dude, honestly, I was saying on the pod that released yesterday with me and Steve, because we were talking about worst to first, and he took the Jaguars for me, so I picked the Broncos. And I'm like, even though this team I don't think will finish first or even make the playoffs, it's like you look at their team, and the team that I see is the Jets from years ago, where they have that really good defense and potentially
if their offense can just be any average offense, they could win games.
Well, not only that, I think that if they're able to just pound the rock, right? You have Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon. Offense. Yeah, just pound the rock. Like the Jets with Mark Sanchez, they had one of the top rushing offenses in the league. Like
Sean Green, baby.
Yeah, like just 2 good running backs. Let's get this tandem going. I think that Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, while people think that they might cannibalize each other's shares, I actually think that they might be able to help each other because they're both running backs that break tackles at a pretty high rate. So it might be a real strain on defenses to have to tackle both of these guys for the entire season.
And Javonte also, which is a benefit, we've had analysts talk about how, like, oh, this running back needs to stay on the field to get, like, his rhythm. Like, Javonte is used to swapping out for another back from college. Him and Michael Carter would come on and off. Obviously, Javonte got the lion's share, but this is nothing new to him. And I think I'm with you, Frank, with the points you made.
Yeah, I mean, building off Frank, the more first downs you get, the more you're likely you are to run and everything. Like, it makes sense, like, what your argument is there, Frank. Like, if they're able to produce more offense, they're going to be more runs. Like, it just goes hand in hand.
Yeah, the other thing I just kind of want to add, this isn't necessarily for Javonte, it's that I think the fantasy community has this expectation that if you're going to be a good running back, you need like 70+% of the touches, which I think couldn't be more wrong. I would much rather have a running back get 50, 55% of the touches, but be extremely efficient.
I think that's what Jonathan Taylor did.
It's a common misconception. I think I saw a stat. Only like 4 running backs had like. I think it was only like 4 or 5 running backs had 70% of the snaps in games.
But also, dude, like I want my running back to be there. You know, I don't want a dude to get the wheels ran off of him for 3 years and then poof, he's out. Like if my dude can be like sustained, kind of like I think the Browns are doing with Nick Chubb, where they're not just giving him 400 touches a year, and then all of a sudden you can only do that for like 2 or 3 seasons, and then you're basically just destroyed. Like, keep this guy alive for his career. So instead of getting 3 or 4 or 5 seasons, I get 8, 9 seasons of low-end RB1 or mid-tier RB1 production.
Okay, wait. I have a really actually quick fun game. There were only 5. Okay, this is games they were active for. So games they played in. There are only 5 running backs that played 70+% of the snaps in games they were in 2020. Can you name the 5? I guarantee you guys won't be able to.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry was not.
Seriously.
Dalvin
Cook was 1.
James Robinson.
He's fifth at 70%. James Robinson is not.
What? Who else was running for James Robinson?
David Montgomery.
Or is it just snaps?
David Montgomery was 1. He's second at 74%.
Kenyon Drake.
No.
No. Nah, he wouldn't be.
Wow.
Number 1, I would have never guessed.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Not Aaron Jones.
No.
Yeah, I said
one of them's pretty
easy.
Zeke was 1. He's third.
So wait, we have Zeke, Cook, and who else?
Montgomery.
There's
2 more. These are the 2 that are tough to guess, especially the one that's in first place.
It's no Colt. It's no.
The one who's in first place was not really fantasy relevant last year.
Chris Carson.
No. Can I tell you guys who's in first? Can I tell you?
Yeah, go ahead.
David Johnson, 74%. And then the 5th was Miles Sanders at 71. The point is there were only 5 out of the 32 backfields. To back up Frank's point, with you shouldn't expect that.
All right. Are we moving on to the Chargers here? Well, do we want Mike Boone? Do we want Royce Freeman?
No, get those roster clogs.
Next.
I still have a soft spot for Mike Boone after his 1 preseason game. That was really good. So Chargers. I correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just Austin Eckler and then it's everyone else, right? Like there's no.
I mean, we have Justin Jackson as the backup zone.
I don't mind Justin Jackson. I just think Josh Kelly and Larry Roundtree are two of the most overrated running backs.
I don't know how they're ranked above Josh Jackson. I don't know how.
At least with Josh Kelly showed us who he was. Like he was not good.
Yeah, I can maybe get Roundtree, but I don't know. I thought Jackson didn't look
I don't like Roundtree either.
Jackson looked okay last year. He looked okay. Obviously, it's a crowded back.
Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I also, just kind of said that Josh Kelly was the biggest fade ever last year.
You did say that. You did call that. I remember you saying that repeatedly.
I mean, it's a 3rd round, 4th round pick, so I'm pretty good at this.
I mean, there have been a lot of 3rd round running backs that turn out. But yeah, you called that completely with Kelly.
Where's I'm not even gonna worry about the rest of these guys. Where's Austin Eckler finish this year?
Top 12.
Where does he? He's gonna be a top. I would say top 15. He might get in that 10 to 12 range, but he's gonna have a good year.
I think he's RB7.
I think he might be that high as well. He's very good, and I think if he can stay healthy, it's going to be a dangerous Austin Eckler this season.
He's good, man. And especially with Herbert there, he's going to use him a ton. How many games did Eckler play with Herbert last year? While you guys are talking, I'm going to try to pull that up. Give me 1 second.
Not a lot, but he was really good with him.
Keep
Frank,
talking.
are you going to build us up or break us down?
He's going to finish somewhere between RB21 and RB37.
Oh, that's
what?
I felt like
next year.
Whoa.
Yep.
Are you predicting?
You heard it here first, folks.
Or
okay,
is
wait.
You saying he starts all 17 games and still finishes that?
No,
or are
he
you
starts
saying
12 or 13.
Okay.
By the way, I just want to say, first off, in games that he played, he didn't have a single game under double digits. But so the first 3 games of the year, he had 11, 21, and 29. Then got injured for the middle of the season. Came back. At this point, it's with Herbert. 21, 10, 23, 11, 15, and 16.
Yeah, he was.
That's
incredible.
in PPR.
He's going to be the same thing. He's going to finish top 10.
Now after seeing that, I'll say definitely RB1 next year.
Bait.
No, you're wrong here, Frank.
Damn.
Well, I would like to talk about bait. Josh Jacobs is a bait on the Raiders. Frank loves his Josh Jacobs. I hate Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs
is underrated, but I'm not high on him.
He's
underrated because he's a top 20 running back that's going to get 250 carries.
He's in the RB2 middle of the road.
He's a one-trick pony behind a not great offensive line. He doesn't really have any dynamic thing. Like he can't catch the ball. There's nothing I like about Josh Jacobs.
Jacobs can definitely catch the ball.
No, he can't.
No, he's not a good receiving back.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs was like
fine as a receiver.
Josh Jacobs.
I said he's not good. I didn't say he's bad.
Last year,
Josh Jacobs was
Swift
for JT over here, but he definitely catches the ball.
No, but last season, Josh Jacobs was like, "Oh, I spent all offseason working on my pass catching ability." He caught 10 more balls last year. It wasn't anything.
Josh Jacobs is the cheapest RB1 you can buy in Dynasty.
He's not an RB1.
I would like to say the same thing about Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
Austin Eckler's gonna. Yeah, when Austin Eckler finishes somewhere between RB21 and 37.
What makes you think he's gonna be that low? In every game.
I mean, he's just predicting an injury.
Do you just think he's gonna get hurt?
Yeah.
I just think that he's just kind of overrated. I think he's the next David Johnson, to be completely honest. He had one good year,
Johnson
and in an offense where they check the ball down a shit ton.
Herbert was still feeding him.
I don't care. It's 4 games.
He caught more passes. He was more efficient with Herbert than he was with Phillip Rivers.
I don't care. I don't care.
Damn.
I think his ceilings. We've reached Austin Eckler's ceiling. I think his best days are behind him. I don't think that we see this top 12 running back that everyone is fiending.
Who finishes higher next year between him or Jacobs?
Jacobs.
No,
it's Eckler easily.
If you ever want to do a bet, I'll take you up on that.
All right, pod bet. Let's do it.
Another one. Can we do all 3 of us against Frank? It's just all.
Yeah.
What 3 do we have to do?
Pulling up to Frank's house with Austin Eckler.
I'll write it down right now. What do we have to do?
I have no idea.
We'll think. If anyone's still in the Twitch chat, maybe throw a suggestion. I don't know if
or during the YouTubes, comment below what you think.
Comment below. What should be the wager?
What's our wager? Preferably something that would be good content or whatnot.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I think we all said Kenyon Drake was the most overrated, or at least we had all thought Kenyon Drake
none of
was
us
overrated.
like Kenyon Drake.
Frank hated Kenyon Drake from the get-go. Frank's been on, like Josh Kelly, Frank's been on the Kenyon Drake hate train.
It's just a backfield of overratedness.
Dude, that season where he went to Arizona and everyone was just like, oh my God, he's insane. I'm like, holy crap. Do we not remember that like Jay Ajayi completely outplayed him like years ago?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well, anything else on the Raiders and Josh Jacobs, or are we going to the wide receivers?
We're good to go to receivers.
Let's move on to the wide receivers.
Some of these receiver rankings are atrocious.
They really are. I don't know what's going on.
I'll give you. It's interesting. We'll run through them real quick. Chiefs, Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 13, according to Keep Trade Cut. Mecole Hardman, 60. Byron Pringle, 127. Demarcus Robinson, 112. Cornell Powell, the rookie, 101. On the Broncos, you got Cortland Sutton, wide receiver 28. Jerry Jeudy, 19. Tim Patrick, 93. KJ Hamler, 74. Seth Williams, my guy, 135. Keenan Allen on the Chargers, 22. Mike Williams, 56. Josh Palmer, 78. Tyron Johnson, 110. Jalen Guyton, 103. Joe Reed, 147. KJ Hill, 134. And then finally, the Raiders, you've got Henry Ruggs as 53. Brian Edwards, 68. Hunter Renfrow, 91. Willie Snead, not ranked. Zay Jones, not ranked. Keelan Doss, not ranked. And John Brown, wide receiver, 86. Chiefs, well, all right. We're talking, and kind of across the board, we think these three big receivers are all pretty criminally underrated.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 13 is crazy.
That's just not right. Like, can we just take the one out of there? And just make it wide receiver 3 because that's probably what he actually is.
I was gonna say
no one is selling for a wide receiver 13 price. You'd have to be on crack, and like some ridiculous crack.
Yeah,
I mean, some really good crack.
For the next 4 years, he has a chance to finish.
Okay, hold on. He shot back up in value. He is wide receiver. He is wide receiver 3 right now.
He shot back up to 3. Good. Yeah. Thank you. That's
he's 3 right now.
Yeah, he's wide receiver 3.
Good.
I was
Keenan Allen is wide receiver 20.
You know what? You know what might happen? I mean, this is probably a me issue. He was probably overall ranked 13 at one point.
Makes so much because I was looked at. I was like, what?
I just put one in
top 5. Okay, then that's correct.
Makes way more sense.
False alarm.
False alarm. Well, I still feel confident that he maintains his value at that point. I'm not going to say he's underrated.
He's going to be top 5.
But, yeah. All right. That makes it. We can all calm down a little bit. But there still is some egregious stuff. But first, we'll stay on the Chiefs. Mecole Hardman, we all said was overrated. Any wide receiver not named Tyreek Hill on the Chiefs, overrated. Lewis likes his little Cornell Powell.
Hey, you said he was underrated too.
Yeah, I mean, at 101, I feel like isn't bad.
Of course, Frank is the one overrated for Cornell Powell. Hey, you, buddy. Once he gets that random week 3 touchdown, like one catch for 7 yards.
Stop,
dude! None of these guys are ever going to be reliable.
Yeah,
I mean, someone has to be the number 3. I guess it could be Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
It's just going to rotate between Mecole Hardman's going to have one game where he actually catches a pass. Then Demarcus Robinson's going to be something. Then Byron Pringle's going to make a catch.
Yeah, I mean,
and then they're going to trade for another Sammy Watkins kind of guy or something.
They should bring in Willie Snead.
I wish Bateman fell to them, but I kind of don't because then Bateman would have flown up in drafts and it would have been annoying. But I think Bateman would have been great here.
I actually do too, JT. That's funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah. It's Tyreek Hill and no one else here. Moving on. Yeah. This is what I'm more upset about. Jerry Jeudy's wide receiver 19. Cortland Sutton is wide receiver 28. I think Jerry Jeudy is worse than Cortland Sutton.
Probably.
And there's a nine ranking difference. It's not like. Go ahead, Lewis.
I was gonna say he's worse. I can see the case for saying Jeudy has the higher ceiling. You want to talk purely just potential ceiling, but I don't see how you can have Jeudy 9 spots ahead of Sutton with the season Sutton had last time he was healthy.
I think that Judy's pretty accurately priced to a certain extent. I think maybe you bump him down a couple spots. I think it's more that Cortland Sutton's rating is just trash.
I was going to say, I think the Sutton rating made me more mad at the Jeudy because realistically, that's why I didn't put most overrated. I know JT didn't. I let him get into that. I didn't think it was crazy. I was just mad at that after seeing Sutton was 9 spots lower than him at 28. because Sutton's getting slept on. He's gonna have a good year.
We all think Cortland Sutton's gonna have a good year. Do we have to really say anything else on him?
Dude, honestly, like this offense feels like the Bucs from a couple years ago. It feels like that other Broncos team where it's like they are locked and loaded and just need that veteran quarterback to come in to really push everyone over.
Here comes Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, the next Peyton Manning. That actually is kind of similar.
If Aaron Rodgers go there, I think they might be a Super Bowl contender. With how good
they're
that defense is
instantly. This roster is legit.
And
they just added
these weapons are legit.
They just added the corner, Surtain.
Yeah, Surtain.
Yeah.
No, but looking at where Jerry Jeudy's priced, like all these guys, Mark Cooper, I'm back and forth on. I don't know.
Who's 2 above, 2 below Jeudy? Do you have it pulled up?
Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore. I would never trade
2 above him.
Yeah, I'd never trade either of those guys for Jerry Jeudy.
I have DJ Moore way ahead of Jeudy.
Yeah, okay. And then below, Amari Cooper was right below. Who I flip back and forth.
I take Jeudy over Cooper. I take Jeudy over
Cooper. It's close.
And then Keenan Allen, who I'd way rather have than Jeudy.
Give me Keenan.
Then there's Devontae Smith.
That's another.
That's like I like Jeudy. It's just you have to pay that.
You're paying
price,
almost
man. Like
you're paying for that. If you're going out and buying him right now, like you're expecting him to end up being the better wide receiver than CeeDee Lamb, like better than T. Higgins. You're expecting him to be the wide receiver 2 of that 2020
Maybe
class.
not better than CeeDee because he's being viewed as like top 8. But
what's funny is that the consensus take is that Jerry Jeudy had like a poor rookie season, whether you want to say it or not, right? But his price tag has jumped from his rookie year.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of it's people.
Is this a Joe Mixon paradox?
I mean, I don't know
about really, dude. Jerry Judy's a tough player to buy right now, and I like Jeudy.
I think the reason his price has really jumped, even though the consensus is that his rookie season wasn't very good, which I don't know if it's really that he was catching balls. I don't think it was
bad. I think it just didn't live up to the hype.
Hinton. What was the receiver that played quarterback?
Hinton.
Oh, I rostered him 1 week.
Thanks. You're not helping yourself, Lounis, please.
I started.
I think the consensus is like he didn't have a good rookie season, but the reason he jumped is because people are expecting some move at quarterback here. People are expecting the Broncos to go out and do something, whether that's Aaron Rodgers, whether that's Mariota, or whether that's just waiting to the offseason and taking one of the top guys in the draft and, Howell or Rattler or any of these guys, Carson Strong, any of these highly rated quarterbacks coming out this season. I think they expect that. And that's why his price has jumped. It's kind of like this. Frank talked about it, I think, maybe it was a tweet that he sent out that you can't expect anything. And when you start doing that, you start.
Are you talking about my Twitter thread? Yeah, that was my Twitter thread. Dynasty JT on Twitter.
Well, what's funny is that I think that if an Aaron Rodgers type quarterback were to go to Denver, the main beneficiary wouldn't be Jeudy or Sutton. I actually think it would be KJ Hamler. I think that instantly KJ Hamler would be a guy that would be startable. And he has that role. KJ Hamler is pretty good. He's just in that weird situation. KJ Hamler had a lot better of a rookie season than people thought. And I was not a huge KJ Hamler guy last year in the draft.
Yeah,
I like Hamler.
I kind of like Hamler, to be honest.
Yeah.
Dude, wide receiver 74 price. And it's like, that's an actual wide receiver 74 price, not one of the bait ones. Like, you can legitimately pick him up at a wide receiver 74 price.
Yeah, you could probably get him for a 3rd round pick.
He's got 2nd round NFL draft capital to him. He kind of does check a lot of analytic boxes.
He needs that situation to improve to the point where that offense is a top 5 offense because there's just not enough volume for him to get consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I still like Tim Patrick. I think he's consistent wide receiver 3 on the team, and then obviously my dear love Seth Williams, who
I don't get it. Where did this come from? Why? He's such a random player.
Dude, I think Seth Williams
just doesn't make any sense.
He's overrated.
Dude is legitimately a special teams player.
I got thrown off by Lounis saying he's most confident we'll keep his value. That's upsetting.
135.
It's almost off the keep trade cut rankings.
Yeah, he'll consistently be that wide receiver 10 value. You know?
When Seth Williams moves up to wide receiver 120, I'm gonna laugh all of you guys sleeping on him.
Oh my!
All right, we're pressed on time. Let's just move on. The Chargers, they're another weird team where Keenan Allen's gonna.
We all say Keenan Allen's underrated.
I love Keenan, dude.
He's
always
underrated.
Into my veins.
He was our most underrated across the board, actually. Most underrated out of all these receivers.
Yeah, because since you fixed the Tyreek Hill thing, my underrated went down here.
Yeah. Keenan Allen's going to be fed targets. He's Justin Herbert's number one option. He's the one that Justin Herbert will. I mean, we saw from like week 3, Justin Herbert was willing to like thread the needle of Keenan Allen and through tight windows. Like, Keenan Allen's like that guy. Like,
and he's cool.
Great. He is cool. Mike Williams, we almost all had overrated on him. Lounis was the only one that said he was underrated.
56 is pretty low.
No, it's not.
He's the bait.
It's literally not.
I think 56 is kind of low.
We're on year 3.
He's almost in the 60s.
We're on year 3 of people.
I probably have him like mid. I think like 45 is fair.
We're on year 3 though of people going, look, he had a 1,000-yard season. Look, he had a 10 touchdown season. If he has both 56, of them,
I'm not saying he's like a. I'm not saying like top 30, but 56.
I have to change it too. I think he's underrated as well. Actually,
thank you. Let's go.
No,
I think he's pretty accurately priced.
56 is a little bit low for me. That's it.
So where are you having him? 40, you said?
40. Yeah, like maybe like 40.
54.
I'd say somewhere like maybe like a 45.
Harris Marshall, Curtis
45. 45 is Will Fuller, Robbie Anderson's 46, Tyler Boyd.
I mean, now that you're saying it, I'm gonna throw that O
Boyd's
back
low,
on.
but I think Boyd's low, but
Darnell Mooney 48,
I think
Henry Ruggs 49, Corey Davis receiver 50. There's no way you're taking him over any of those guys.
I don't think I think him and Robbie Anderson could be comparable. We'll see. They'll see the season he has. Right. I just thought 56 is a little bit low. I'm not becoming a Mike Williams truther. I'm just saying he's a little bit low.
Josh Palmer getting drafted in the 3rd round made me like a little bit high. Yeah. Made me a little bit higher on him, but like I still don't really like Josh Palmer.
I love Josh Palmer. You said he's overrated? Oh, you scumbag.
Yeah.
Dude, the thing is though, is that Tennessee team was a dumpster fire last year. I felt bad for him watching those damn games.
Back up to own. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the number 2 in that offense next year.
He will be.
I like Josh Palmer. The thing about Josh Palmer is that, like, dude, if you like him, it does not take much to get him. Like, it really doesn't.
3rd round pick.
Rookie pick.
Jake, I'll trade you a 3rd.
Like, even if you didn't draft him and are just like, crap, I missed out, like, you could pretty easily trade for Josh Palmer. You send over, like, 2/3 would be his max price.
Unless someone's a Josh Palmer truther.
And like the last thing is, I think everyone has, like, their one guy that's on the rest of these guys that they like. Like, my personal guy is Tyron Johnson. I think a lot of people like Jalen Guyton.
I know some people like KJ Hill.
Yeah. I honestly think that people think that Jalen Guyton is Tyron Johnson. It's just that Jalen Guyton has a much more memorable name and had that one catch against the Bucks.
They're the same player.
He's got cooler hair too, I think.
Yes, they always just make the same. It's like a deep post. Pretty much.
That's the only route they run.
Deep post.
That's the only routes they run.
All right.
The deep post.
Let's move on. Probably the most interesting, because you just don't know who's what, is the Raiders. I guess me and Lounis are definitely split on the Henry Ruggs, Bryan Edwards. They're priced.
I mean, I said
similar.
Edwards is underrated at 68. I think Ruggs is also underrated at 53.
I mean, I think Bryan Edwards is the receiver 1 on this team. I think
this
John
entire
Brown
receiving core is underrated.
And then Henry Ruggs.
My guy, Willie Snead.
Yeah, Willie. I hate Willie Snead because of how like he had managed to have like some production on the worst passing offense in the Ravens last year. Get out here, Willie Snead. He just kind of ruins everything.
He never dies.
It's gonna be the Frank Gore receivers.
Bryan Edwards is legit. Like, I'm dying on the Bryan Edwards hill. This is my hill that I'm dying on.
I think that Renfro is pretty legit still. He doesn't have that volume, but I like him.
The thing that really hurt Renfro was how good Waller has become. Because Waller takes all of those middle of the field. If Waller wasn't there, Renfro would have a lot more production. And I like Renfro as a talent. I still like Renfro. I think he's actually going to have a pretty long NFL career. And I think I would actually switch. What is he, 91? I would switch mine to underrated for Renfro because I do like him. I think
he's just higher than 91. You're getting to the point where it's like
he's higher than Seth 91 Williams talent-wise. Oh, God.
Seth Williams is actually 40 spots below that.
Yeah.
So.
That's just going to take that as an argument for Seth Williams.
Yeah, that jump of 40 spots cost you, what, 5 fab?
Maybe.
What was I going to say with what was I going to say? Because talent-wise, he's above 91. And I want him to go to a different team because I just think his production took such a hit with Waller takes all of those middle-of-the-field targets.
Question. John Brown. Is he still a thing? He had an Achilles tear, right?
No.
I don't think so. No. I think he played last year healthy in Buffalo.
He's
going to be more of a nuisance than Ruggs and Edwards owners may realize.
I agree with John Brown is a productive wide receiver and has
he's not just going to be like.
Is this just like another Aguilar?
Yes.
Is he
not as good as Aguilar?
Yes.
Not as good.
No, he's going to be just as good in this offense.
Oh, no way! You think he puts up like 900 yards?
Yes.
No chance. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's going to be around the franchise like
John Brown is underrated, and he has been his entire career. Nothing will change here. And this one, he's probably in a worse receiving core than he was last year, and the year before that. And
he's not as talented as Aguilar right now. At this point in his career, he's not.
I'm surprised you haven't traded for him.
At the start of last season, everyone wrote Aguilar off as a bust. I'm telling you.
Well, no, Aguilar was different, though. Aguilar was always, people were frustrated at him because he was talented. He just couldn't catch for shit. He would get open, but he just couldn't catch. Like, physically, he was good.
The thing the receiver is paid to do, catch the football?
Yeah, but I'm saying then he got over his dropping problem. He didn't drop the ball as much in Oakland as he did in Philly. I don't know what to say. He's always been talented. He's always been athletic. He just had drop problems. John Brown, I don't think is as talented a receiver as Nelson Aguilar. I think he's going to be right on the fact if I can see him around maybe 500, maybe up to 600 yards, but not like 900 like Aguilar had last year. No,
I think you're forgetting how like good John Brown has been in his career. He's had a long career.
His career, yeah. I just think
Which that agrees with you, Jake, but just not as much as you.
He'll put up Tyrell Williams numbers from 2 years ago, where it's like 600 yards, 5 touchdowns.
I can see that.
2 years ago, John Brown had 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns in Buffalo. 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's on Buffalo. That's not on Oakland.
Okay.
We're on a different team, different scheme, different everything. There's nothing similar.
He's going to slide into the role that Aguilar played last year, and he's going to produce well. I think 900 yards is a lot. I think a realistic target for him is 750, 800.
No, I still think it's going to be
Jake down 150 yards.
I think it's still going to be.
Ooh, wow.
I think it's still going to be Edwards.
It's a lot.
I think it's still going to be Edwards as the starting. I think it's still going to be Edwards as the starting X, Ruggs as the starting Z, Brown rotating in, maybe some slot work. With Waller's going to have a monster season with this receiving core.
I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, Waller's going to be the leading receiver on this team. I don't think any of us would disagree with that.
Speaking of Waller,
Foster Moreau,
your boy.
Speaking of Waller, you put him as backup too.
Hold on, I kind of did want to check. Lead us into the tight ends list while I look up something real quick.
Okay, so we have the tight ends now of the division. We have Travis Kelce at tight end 3. We have Noah Gray, tight end 25. We have Noah Fant.
All right, that's enough for you, Lounis. I'm back.
I
just want to check real quick. There's only 26. There's only 26 receivers last year who put up over 900 yards.
So who's in Twitch chat, by the way?
Lappy.
Nice.
Anyway, so tight ends. keep trade cut ranking. Travis Kelce, TE3, Noah Gray, 25, Noah Fant on the Broncos, tight end 7, Albert O, tight end 40. No way I'm saying his last name. Jared Cook on the Chargers, tight end 42, Trey McKitty, 46. My guy, Don Parham, tight end 36. And then on the Raiders, Darren Wall, tight end 4, and Frank Sky, Foster Moreau, tight end 53. With the Chiefs, I guess the real question is how many years do you think Travis Kelce, it's kind of saying Kels, Travis Kelce has left?
I think you're talking to me because I'm the only one that put him as underrated. Everyone else.
How can you move him up though?
He's tight end 1. That is it. End of story.
You'd rather own Kelce.
You
over
literally
Kittle?
said 2 pods ago you would trade him straight up for Kyle Pitts. So he's tight end 2.
I did not. Lounis did. You did. I said it was close, sure, but I don't think he's tight end 1. That's it. He has been and will be for the next 2 years. That's it.
I think for me right now, he actually might be tight end 4. Yeah, I'd give him 3. It's close between him and Waller.
He will have 2 more elite seasons, and then he'll slowly taper off. So that's what I have.
But what I said, I think Pitts is going to have an elite 12 years. Kittle's going to have an elite another 6, and Waller's going to have an elite another 4 or 5.
Okay, and then in the 2 seasons prior to that, I'll take my ring. Thank you very much. Go on.
Okay. No.
I think this year Kelce's tight end 1 by a good amount.
Good amount.
Look how much he was tight end 1 by last year. Like 30 points or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, George Kittle's back and healthy. I don't know what that does to everything.
Kittle's going to be good.
I like Kelce. It's just tough to pay a huge
that's
price
the thing,
for a guy that's 32.
That's another thing is I think you can get him at a price that's not as bad as it used to be. Obviously, rightfully so. He is aging. I'm not blind. He's aging. He's 32, I think. Which
he's in like the Aaron Rodgers discussion for like quarterbacks. Like it's like you feel like you have 2-3 good years left of him. You feel very happy to have him on your team, but you kind of know it's coming to an end.
For reference sake, this is last season. Kelce averaged 17.5 points per game. Kittle at 16.3. Waller
Kittle played like 4 games.
Waller played at 15.3. But I mean, Kittle's gonna be back.
You can't predict injuries.
Yeah, I don't like the small sample size doesn't do it for me on points per game.
Okay, just look the year before then. Like I don't understand. Are we arguing that Kittle's bad or
no? Kittle's obviously very good.
Yeah. Kelsey's good. Let's move on.
Anyway,
Noah Gray's a bait.
I agree.
This is easily the best tight end division.
Get out of here, Louis.
I mean, the backups aren't really great. It was between him and Trey McKitty. I just think this one's
my
more
guy, Alberto. I like Alberto.
Foster Moreau.
All right, Noah Fant. I'll go on my little spiel about Noah Fant. I think Noah Fant is constantly slept on, right? Because Lounis has the overrated tag on him. Frank and I have the underrated tag.
I'll clarify my overrated tag in 1 second.
Okay, but people keep talking about this year being the TJ Hawkinson breakout year, but I think everyone's sleeping on, and they're even talking the same with Dallas Goedert too, which I feel like they've been saying about Dallas Goedert for like 3 years now. But everyone's kind of scheming over and forgetting about Noah Fant, where it's like Noah Fant is also a first-round tight end, same year, same team as Hawkinson. He's the more athletic tight end as far as pass-catching ability is concerned. Like, it's not ridiculous to think that this is also a breakout year for Noah Fant. Like, he's got a lot going for him where he's been a tight end 1, which obviously not that hard to do with tight ends, but he was playing injured for both years and managed to do it. He's got Drew Lock throwing to him. I just think when you look at TJ Hawkinson and you're like, oh, he's going to get a lot of targets, I think you got to look at Noah Fant and go, he's going to get a lot of high-value targets. And with that, I think they should be priced pretty equally. And you would just have Noah Fant, for the most part, being largely ignored, while you have TJ Hawkinson being analyzed under a microscope right now. He's got a lot of big lovers and a lot of big haters right now, Hawkinson. But I think Fant should be deserving of that. Thank you, Fant.
The thing that I like about Fant that happens with every actual tight end 1, not top 12, like an actually large producing tight end one is that every single one of the offenses that the top tier tight ends are on, the offense runs through them. And when you watch the Broncos all 22 last year, the offense ran through Noah Fant. That's what you need. He has the talent. We just need to see all the pieces put together, his health and the Broncos not absolutely sucking asshole.
He also only had 3 touchdowns last year. Like, compare that to how many did Tunyon have? I mean, you can't really predict
10
touchdowns.
10 or 11 or something.
Yeah, you can't predict touchdowns.
If Aaron Rodgers ever went to Denver,
yeah, but we can't do that. See, this is where you're like, this is where you double count stuff. Because you're like, oh, if Noah Fant gets Aaron Rodgers,
where you double count stuff.
Okay, so I do want to clarify my over it. I don't think it's like that. I still have him as probably like top 10 for sure. It's just it was really hard for me to find an overrated because I don't think Noah Gray at 25 is that bad.
I think it's pretty bad.
Noah Gray at 25 is real bad.
You're expecting him to step in and be a starting tight end for this team. I just don't think he is.
How is he ranked above every over 7 starting tight ends? I understand it's not hard.
Who are the two? Who are name me the 3 tight ends after Noah Gray at 25?
We're arguing semantics. Wastelanders are wastelanders,
whatever.
Man.
But that's the wasteland. 25 through 28. There's not really shit there. It was more just.
God, it's OJ Howard, Harrison Bryant, and I don't like Dalton Schultz, but Dalton Schultz underneath, and then Blake Jarwin, Austin Hooper, and Anthony first group up.
I would
like
take
the 3 above,
Gray probably over everyone except OJ Howard.
Harrison Bryant had a really good year. I don't know why people are just writing him off, but okay.
It more just had to do with what you said, and I could easily be wrong because I like Fant's talent, and I want to see how it plays out with the quarterback. But it's more just having guys like Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Goddard. I still have ahead of him for right now. For right now is emphasis. I feel bad putting it because I really don't want to. I just had to put it somewhere. I didn't really know what to do.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on from the Wastelanders, as Frank would call them, to LA here. Jared Cook,
definition of wasteland.
Let's move on from wastelanders to waste peasants, man.
Waste peasants. We got Jared Cook, who Lounis has is underrated at tight end 42. Trey McKitty, who I have as the backup to own at tight end 46, and JT's guy, who he doesn't have a tag on, but he likes Donald Parham here at tight end 36.
I think Jared Cook can win the starting spot for this season. And
I mean, he should be a starter.
If you're a starter, for I feel always bad for setting up situation, but if you're a starting tight end for Herbert and you're in that situation, I still think he's talented. I still think he has a year left in him. I think
he won't play a game of will Lounis start complimenting a player by actually complimenting a player and not complimenting his team.
I listen. It's a factor. If we're lying to ourselves if we're saying it's not a factor.
I'll take Trey McKitty out of these guys probably. Jared Cook I'd like as well. Just a roster.
Jared Cook's a very good veteran.
I just think 42 is low. I just think 42 is a little bit low. For the
I think if I desperately needed a tight end in a league, trying to trade for Jared Cook and then picking Trey McKitty in the 4th would be a nice little move.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that.
You can get Jared Cook for pretty much nothing. I would expect a late 3rd, 4th round pick. Not a whole lot of capital.
I think he'll have some production this year.
No, he will, because wherever he's gone, he's been productive in his career. Yeah. So I expect it to continue. He's obviously aging out, but anytime you're paired with Herbert, you're going to get some hype, and you're going to probably see some points just because that offense is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Right.
Here we have
your boy, Darren Waller.
Yeah, he's going to have a ridiculous year this year. Probably 1,200 yards.
Darren Waller is good. Does anything else need to be said?
No.
You could talk about your boy Foster Moreau for 30 seconds. We'll let you on the phone.
All right, Foster Moreau. I think Foster Moreau is a underrated guy. He's just kind of in a bad spot because Darren Waller's pretty insane. But I think Foster Moreau could be a TE1 if Waller were to get hurt.
All right. So to wrap it up, we'll just finish off with our AFC West team most likely to overperform expectations from fantasy standpoint and underperform. Overperform, Oh, it's me alone on the Chargers, and then Jake, Frank, and Lounis all
I
on
was
the
so
Raiders.
back and forth between the Chargers
Yeah,
and
Lounis literally just jumped ship from me and went to the Raiders side.
Because I forgot how low some of the Raiders guys are. Like Ruggs is 53, Edwards is 68,
but we
Jacobs
literally
is
talked
21, Carr is 25.
We talked about Keenan Allen being.
I know,
like
that's why I originally said the
Austin
Chargers.
Eckler.
I originally said the Chargers, thinking of Keenan Allen and Eckler's ratings also be. Both of them fit.
At the end of the day, this breaks down to my love for Eckler and hate for Jacobs, and then it's the reverse with Frank and probably.
Yeah, for me, I love Eckler as much as you. I just don't hate Jacobs as much as you do.
Yes. The receivers, I think one will be fine. Like for the Raiders, one of them will outperform the expectations. I don't think both of them will. So
here's the thing with the Raiders, though. Here's the thing I see with the Raiders is that I legitimately believe that the Raiders are a top 10 offense in the league, and they're not valued like that. They were last year, and I don't think that anything should drastically change for them to not be a top 10 offense again this year. So even if they're not top 10, they're going to be hanging right around it. They have a lot, dude, their offense was great last year. They had some major pieces not play. The fact of the matter is that they have no players valued as a 1 in their position except for Darren Waller. So I think that the Raiders easily are the most likely team to overperform.
I mean, you do make the good point where it's I think between the Chargers and Raiders, they're very close as far as team total yards are. I just think that when it comes to this year, I love almost all of these Chargers players. So that's the only reason I stuck with the Chargers. Jake, do you have anything else to add? I mean,
no. I mean, I just think I was back and forth. I think the Raiders and the Chargers were the common consensus here of who we all have to overperform between Eckler and Jacobs being pretty lowly rated, and then the receivers of Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, Ruggs, Brian Edwards, they're all pretty lowly rated. So I think there's just a good chance that a lot of these guys outperform where they're being valued right now, and I think neither is a bad choice here.
Yeah, so then AFC West team most likely to underperform. Lounis and I were on the Chiefs. Jake and Frank were on the Broncos. I think I'll start Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, right? But he's only finished as QB1 once. It doesn't really it's so hard to predict. I don't really. That doesn't really.
For his ass. That
really wasn't an issue for me. He'll be a top 5 quarterback likely. I just don't know where. My main issues stem from all the receivers not named Tyreek Hill. I think almost all of them are overrated, and none of them will be fantasy relevant. Then CEH was the one that I said to sell. I don't see him finishing as a RB1 this year. I just don't think he has that kind. He does have some pass catching ability. I just don't think he has all of the tools together though to put in an RB1 type season. There'd have to be some major injuries for that to happen. I guess Cam Akers getting injured does help, but and then tight end Travis Kelce's kind of locked in as tight end 1, so he can only really underperform at that point. But I don't really think he will. I think I agree with Jake saying that he will be the tight end 1. And that basically sums up how I look at the Chiefs. I think with the Broncos, you have some people that Javonte Williams, even Melvin Gordon, I do think will be better. One of those quarterbacks will overperform their value. One of them will underperform.
I don't know if it's a guarantee that one of them overperforms.
maybe not.
But we'll both start about 8 games and be average.
Yeah, that could be upsetting. That's where I thought the Broncos had some place to grow. They can go up. I think the Chiefs are
right, but I think that's the problem here is that with the Broncos here, we all love Javonte Williams. We all think he's going to be good, but he's playing in an offense with Drew Lock at quarterback or Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback.
Is that his name's Voldemort?
Pretty much it.
Yeah, they got Voldemort at quarterback.
Drew Lock is basically Voldemort. That we don't speak of.
Well, once the Horcruxes are found and destroyed, this offense is done for.
Exactly. That's when the offense will break out, when the Drew Lock Horcruxes have been destroyed.
The fantasy football circle and the Harry Potter circle are not. If we put on a Venn diagram, there's not a lot of crossover.
Should I go grab my wand?
Yes.
Have a wand?
Actually, no. Yeah, you have to.
Do I
Jake,
have
continue.
a
Are we-
wand?
Jake,
Are we
continue.
adding
Frank, go grab your wand.
a
If
Harry
you
Potter?
I'll
listen
get it
to
for
us on
next time.
A Harry
podcast,
Potter fan podcast being added to the 3rd and 20 tree.
the sidebar.
3rd and 20 Potter. All right, but really, really quickly, just kind of finish off with Jake. I think Jake had the right idea. It's just there's like one or two too many highly rated players in this Broncos offense.
Yeah, between
It's
Judy,
just not going to happen.
Yes, basically, there's just not enough offense to go around here between Fent, Judy, Sutton, Javonte, Melvin Gordon. There's just too many highly rated guys that it's just not going to happen.
It almost feels like for these Broncos players, one of them is going to underperform, maybe even two. But for them to all maintain these rankings, I don't even think it's Javonte or the quarterbacks. I think it's more the receiving options, Judy, Sutton, and Fant. It has to be a perfect storm. And is that perfect storm going to happen?
No.
I don't know.
Fair.
It's tough to say. Probably not, though. Especially they don't even have an offensive coach. So it's like.
Wait, what?
They have a defensive coach, Vic Fangio.
Oh, I thought you meant they didn't have an offensive coordinator.
No, they have an offensive coordinator. It's just I don't know. It's really hard to believe in the Broncos offense. It's very much I need to see it to believe it offense.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, I think the
Still
main
think they should
takeaway
have
from
taken
this,
Fields, but that's a different story.
I agree. The main takeaway from this episode, though, is Drew Lock is Voldemort.
Yes.
With that, Jake and I actually created some Dynasty Twitters. Dynasty JT.
I'll be
Dynasty
making
JT
mine
on
this
Twitter.
week and let you guys know next week.
Jake's at Dynasty Jake _ or something like that.
Dynasty _ Jake _
2 _
Yeah,
Jake _
Yeah.
All right. But, we're going to start posting more on the website, www.3rd and20.com. Follow us on Instagram. We're on there too, on Twitter. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, all that fun stuff. You know the deal. But we really appreciate it.
We're here for the
It helps a
preseason
lot.
overreaction. Preseason's 2 weeks away.
Oh, I forgot to lead off this episode. We're under 50 days from the start of the regular
49
season.
days, boys.
Yeah.
49 days.
2 weeks. I can't wait for the preseason
That was a miss by me.
overreaction.
I should have kicked that off.
I need the preseason overreactions.
And
I
think we can all, the pat and did JT pat ourselves on the back. We really did time out this stuff well. We're going to be wrapping up our reviews in like a week or two. I forget if we have 1 or 2 more league divisions. But then we're heading right into preseason. So good job, everyone. All right. Thank you, everyone. Episode 46 in the books.